It's Steam sale season again. Now, this pops up by a handful of times every year, and if you're like me, you're never really ready. But hopefully this video fixes things. And in case you're still pinching your pennies and want to make sure you pick up a couple games this year without breaking the bank, I'm weird enough to have organized a list of 50 games here for you to choose from, and all of them are under $5. That's cheaper than almost every combo I can think of from McDonald's. And if you've missed the summer sale, don't worry, Steam sale prices are pretty consistent, so you just may have to hold out for another sale. Though before diving in, I do want to take a moment to say that while making this list, I realized there are dozens of amazing games, like god tier games, that are priced at $6 on the dot. And as much as I wanted to include them, I didn't want to have to think of a different name for the video. So let me know if you want to see more recommendations later down the road. So without further ado, let's dive into 50 games under $5. Stasis. Stasis is an isometric point-and-click adventure game where you find yourself waking up on a derelict spaceship where it seems all the shit has hit all the fans. Creepy, puzzling, and refreshingly different. And all of this for only $2.71. Stasis also has a sequel as well if you find out that you really ended up liking this game. Killer 7. Killer 7 is a legendary cult classic game, originally released on the PS2 and GameCube. Switch between 7 different personalities, each with their own abilities, and dispatch enemies and monsters. If you missed this classic back in the day, you can pick it up now for only $4.99. That's a lot cheaper than the GameCube version. Lost in Random. Lost in Random is a gothic fairy tale game in a gorgeous stop-motion style. What really makes the game interesting, though, is that everything in the game, attacks, decisions, fates of characters, are decided by a dice roll, specifically the die strapped to your back. Explore 6 magical realms and keep your fingers crossed the entire time. $4.49. Werewolf the Apocalypse. Okay, this is a game that didn't do too well and kind of flew under the radar. It also didn't present itself too well during release either. I mean, the official synopsis starts out as, "You are Kahal, a powerful Garal. Garal. See, you see the problem? But basically, let me distill it down to something that might actually catch your eye. You play as a guy with guns, who can transform into a wolf for stealth and a werewolf in huge beat-em-up sections. Yeah, there's a story somewhere in there, but it's more about the angst, dude. The angst. Nothing wrong with doing a little experimenting for $2.99. Yooka and the Impossible Lair. If you love platformers, especially if you love the Donkey Kong Country games, you need to add this to your library. Made by veteran devs who have worked on games like Donkey Kong Country and Banjo-Kazooie, you'll find this a fantastic showcase of everything they've learned in their careers. The Yooka games are absolutely fantastic if you're a fan of platformers. And if you've heard anything negative about them, ignore it. People really love hating things for views. I would have put the first one on this list, but it's getting a remaster soon. The Impossible Lair is $2.99 and is Steam Deck verified. Helldivers, Dive Harder Edition. Remember Helldivers 2 before it was torpedoed? And I say torpedoed, but it still has like thousands of people playing it daily. Well, did you know there was a first game before Helldivers 2? Crazy, I know. Helldivers is basically more of what you love, just from a top-down perspective, simpler art style, and loads more content since it's gone through the entirety of its life cycle before Helldivers 2 was released. Helldivers Dive Harder Edition is $4.99. 10 Miles to Safety. 10 Miles to Safety is a small asset flip game with a simple premise and a fantastic gameplay loop. Spawn in and head to the safety zone. Loot houses and complete small quests on your way, and fortify yourself in houses to survive the night. And you can also bring along a friend. 10 Miles to Safety is $4.99. Binary Domain. Back in the day when every studio was trying their hand at third-person cover shooters, there was a little-known one developed by Devil's Details, a studio known for Sonic Generations, and nothing else. Binary Domain is a tightly knit sci-fi story about taking down robots in future Tokyo. Definitely has some iRobot vibes, and for only $3 you can't really go wrong. Broken Age. Double Fine's point-and-click masterpiece follows 2 different stories as they begin to intertwine. Honestly, I first played this game based on the art style alone, and was completely pulled in by the fun puzzles and fantastic characters. And it's only $3.56, and it's Steam Deck verified! Cold Fear. Cold Fear is kind of like mom telling you that we have Resident Evil at home. But if you're a fan of obscure and kind of quirky games, you may find something to like in Cold Fear. You play as Great Value brand Leon as he investigates a Russian whaling ship in an Arctic storm. And yep, it's full of zombies. If that premise doesn't make you raise an eyebrow, then maybe this isn't for you, but for less than a can of Coca-Cola, you can't really go wrong at $1.99. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Okay, everyone and their mother has told you to buy Fallen Order. It's Star Wars, it's from the people who did Titanfall 2, it's an accessible Souls-like, there's really nothing not to like. Okay, maybe the weird ball puzzles, but it's only $3.99. Are you kidding me? And it's Steam it's Steam, play it on the Steam Deck. Corn Kidz 64. Corn Kidz 64 is an ode to N64 platformers and was released out of nowhere and earned itself an overwhelmingly positive rating. You play as two goat kids trying to unravel the mystery of their dreams. Weird, different, cool as hell. $4.96 and Steam Deck verified. Enslaved Odyssey to the West Premium Edition. Enslaved is an action-adventure game that didn't really get the love it deserved when it released back on the PS3 and 360. It features a fantastic story, placed in an extremely creative version of the distant future. And the main lead is played by Andy Serkis, so expect some great performances. It's only $2.99. It honestly costs more to rent one of the Planet of the Apes films than to buy this game. And it's Steam Deck verified. Evil Within. Evil Within, in my opinion, is one of the best third-person action horror games you can get right now. The Resident Evil 4 remake before the actual remake came out. With a creative setting inside the mind of a madman who's trying to escape the confines of a mental facility, there's plenty of action and super freaky moments to be had. It's been a while since I've given this a playthrough, so it might be about time I boot it back up. $4.99 and Steam Deck verified. Torchlight 2. The Torchlight game series is basically what happens if you combine the gameplay of Diablo with the world of Warcraft. Whenever I'm in the mood for a bit of isometric dungeon crawling, you know, getting into the mood where you're just grabbing loot while watching a movie on another monitor, Torchlight 2 is perfect for that. Graphics, gameplay, and systems distilled down to just simple and fun. You can't go wrong. $2.99. Chorus. Chorus is a dark sci-fi tale where you control a starfighter pilot and her ship's AI. Now, I'm a sucker for a good space story, but what really called to me is the fact that it's an open-world spaceflight RPG with dungeons. Dungeons in a starship game. You gotta love it when games mix it up more than usual. And for only $4.99, it's a pretty solid deal. Alien Shooter 2 Reloaded. With a name as generic as Alien Shooter, I'm sure you're not expecting anything too great. But the end product might surprise you. One of the best alien marine games that isn't Alien. An isometric shoot-'em-up RPG that really gets the feel of alien swarms right. Nothing feels better than carving through a horde like butter. And now, only the price of an Arizona iced tea. Wolfenstein the New Order. One of my most recent playthroughs, Wolfenstein New Order is a great purchase if you haven't had the pleasure of playing it before. You play as Nazi-killing Beef Meat Slab, who will stop at nothing to free the world from Nazi grip in this sci-fi 1950s where we lost World War II. Great gameplay, amazing story, and weird shout-out like gorgeous cinematography. And these are the same devs that are working on that new Indiana Jones game. And I gotta say, it's in good hands. $4.99 and Steam Deck verified. Strange Brigade. Ever wanted Uncharted to be like Call of Duty Zombies? Great, then you should grab Strange Brigade while it's on sale. Not as polished as either of the games I compared it to, but still blast with friends. Defeat waves of zombies, find secrets, and solve puzzles. Worth every penny if you're looking for a few great evenings with friends. $4.99. Shotgun Farmers. You know how every now and then your friends all sit around in Discord saying, what should we play? Shotgun Farmers is 100% for situations like this. A super fun game where your missed bullets grow guns. And an excellent reminder on why Team Deathmatch is still one of the best game modes of all time. Gotta love it. And $3.99, delicious. Shyness, The Lightning Kingdom. I'm still not 100% sure how to pronounce that. Okay, this is probably one of the most unique games on the list. Here we have a French platformer with RPG elements, and an arcade-style battle system, maybe more akin to an early Tales game. I really don't know how to explain it, it's just its own thing. This game is different in every single sense of the word. Sadly, the game just didn't do too well due to all the risks. But if you still want to give this, in my opinion, somewhat hidden gem a chance, it's only $1.49. Yep, that's cheap. WatchDogs. I think enough time has passed that we can all appreciate WatchDogs for what it is. And what it is pretty dang fun. An open world hacking shooting game in a beautiful rendition of Chicago. And with fan patches, you pretty much forget it was released almost 10 years ago. And you know, sometimes you need a Ubisoft style game with lots of to-do lists and a map to unlock. And for only $3.99, you just can't go wrong. Hob. I bet you didn't know the Torchlight devs did something other than Torchlight, and that something was Hob, a 3D puzzle platformer with its own set of mysteries to unravel, and where your actions actually change the shape of the world. Hob is only $3.99, so if you're a fan of the genre, you should check it out. Rage. Rage may have been overshadowed by the lukewarm reception of its sequel, but don't let that steer you away from this classic. Truly one of the best Wasteland games, and with amazing weapons and gore physics, that still holds up very well today. Not to mention a strong story and tons of side content. Did I mention John Goodman is in it? I mean, John Goodman isn't an indicator of a great game, but I mean, it's pretty cool he's in it. $3.99. Red Faction Guerilla Remastered. I remember when Guerilla first released. I was in awe of the destruction you can inflict in the game. Truly, the future of gaming looked fantastic. However, still, no game can really come close to how chaotic the destruction in Red Faction is. If you're itching to dismantle the establishment on Mars, find crazy guns, and blow up some buildings, grab Red Faction Guerilla Remastered for $3.99. Roguebook. I love me a good deck building game. Roguebook is a deck building roguelike where you have to choose every step carefully. So many different builds you can make, decks you can build, and absolutely beautiful animations. I'm actually surprised I don't see this get recommended as much as it should. It's only $4.99 if you want to give it a try. Call of Juarez Gunslinger. Gunslinger was a game I wasn't actually expecting to enjoy. Red Dead 2 is amazing and still one of the best games I ever played, but I'm just not a cowboy guy. Man. But Gunslinger's brilliant use of storytelling, smart humor, and brilliant arcade semi-on-rail shooting won me over. It's only $2.99, and it's worth picking up. Warpips. Warpips is a little-known tug-of-war tower defense game where you have to build your defenses and select your units to defend your side. It's a great streamlined war game. I'm honestly also a sucker when old 2D sprites are used in 3D environments. Warpips is only $3.39 if you want to give it a try. I mean, just look at this. Mirror's Edge is a legend in its own right. This parkour action first-person shooter set the bar very high when it came out on the PS3 and the Xbox 360, promising an amazing future of more first-person shooters. However, it continues to be in a league of its own, and many of its ideas are still untouched since then. But that doesn't mean that you should miss out on a chance to play as Faith in this monochrome, Windexed dystopia. Mirror's Edge is $4.99, and it's playable on Steam Deck. .hack GU Last Recode. Last Recode is a collection and remaster of the 3 .hack GU games originally released on the PS2, plus a 4th released just for this. The .hack games take place basically in an online MMO. Kinda Sword Art Online-y situation, but not really. If you're a JRPG fan, this should be on your radar. $4.99. That's 4 games for $5. Alice Madness Returns. Alice is a grim, no pun intended, action platformer that is legendary in the genre. Though it seems like the series itself is dead, you can still play this classic and hack and slash your way through one of the best interpretations of this classic tale. Alice is only $1.49, and if you haven't played it yet, it's $1.49. Eiyuden Chronicles Rising. Rising is a side-scrolling action RPG where you complete quests, fight bosses, and slowly build up a town to unlock more upgrades. Rising was sort of a release to build up hype for the devs' bigger game that just released, 100 Heroes, but it's still a solid, complete game in its own right. And if a giant kangaroo dude isn't enough to convince you, maybe the $4.49 price tag will. Sleeping Dogs Definitive Edition. I'm being threatened at gunpoint right now to recommend this game. To be completely honest, I still haven't played it. I know, but it's still one of the greatest releases of the last decade, genre-defining, and has left a pretty permanent impression on many people, including the person holding a gun to my head right now. And I swear, I'll play through it very soon. It's probably one of the biggest games you can get right now for only $2.99. I feel like GTA over the last 15 years have kind of overshadowed any of the other open-world city games, but seriously, pick this one up. Garden Story. Okay, I'm gonna try to get through this without mentioning Stardew. Garden Story does what I wish more devs would do. It takes a great genre, like an action RPG, and makes it chill, like blasts it with a lo-fi gun. Garden Story is about clearing dungeons, helping a town, and of course, farming, fishing, and friendship. I'm so happy it's down to $4.99, so more people can grab it. Going Under. You may now know them as the devs of One Crab's Treasure, but they really got a name for themselves with the roguelike Going Under, a beat-em-up with sharp sarcasm where you explore ruins of different companies and startups, caving in the heads of monsters and management alike. Plus, it comes with a pretty hefty amount of additional content since the release of the Work From Home update. Aggro Crab, oh damn, that was a really bad mistype. Aggro Crab is honestly one of the most pure devs out there in my opinion right now. Gotta love them. $4.99. Tales Noir. For some reason, animal characters placed back in the 1920s to 1950s is a genre all on its own. And I can't really blame it, there's just something so aesthetically cool about it. Tales Noir is a noir game where you take the role of a private investigator as you piece together mysteries from your clients. If you like the aesthetics and a slow burn story, check it out for $4.99. West of Dead. West of Dead is a twin-stick shooter with a roguelike twist. Run and gun through purgatory in a beautiful, cel-shaded style. I mean, I love it when games in the style limit their color palettes. I feel like it just makes things pop a lot better. And if you're still unsure, William, the character you play as, is voiced by Ron Perlman. West of Dead is a Raw Fury classic for only $4.99. Halls of Torment. Vampire Survivors may have established a new genre of games, but the category is a lot more creative than you'd probably give it credit for. Halls of Torment is the love child of Vampire Survivors and Diablo 2. Amazing art style, characters and items to unlock, and character builds to mess with. Personally, I prefer playing this to Vampire Survivors. $3.99 and worth every penny. Iris and the Giant. Iris and the Giant is a deck-building RPG roguelike where you take the role of Iris and fight through waves of her inner demons. I'm a sucker for minimalist art styles and deeper emotional stories, so this was a quick buy for me. If you're a fan of this style of game, this one really does stand on its own. Check it out for only $4.49. Later Alligator. Later Alligator is a lovingly animated point-and-click adventure where you, Pat the Alligator, may be the key to unraveling the biggest conspiracy in Alligator, New York City. The game is only about 3 hours long or so, and it's more about clicking everything you see than trying to gun through the story. More than worth the $3.59 asking price. Plus, it's where we got this absolutely legendary Germa clip.
It was easy.
It still boggles my mind every time I watch it.
Oh, Bodo, don't be feeling too bad. Ain't nobody can... What? Wait, what?
Patch Quest is so many things it's almost easier to tell you what it's not. But Patch Quest is an action-adventure RPG roguelike bullet hell with creature collecting and base building. And on top of all of that, it's cute as hell. If I'm right, it was made by a single dev who knew what he wanted to make and made it happen. And I'm sure it has to be someone's future favorite game. So why not see if it's yours for only $2.99. Now, the following are my top 10 recommendations. I believe if you do really want to spend money during this or the next Steam sale, please consider the following. Lost Planet Extreme Condition. Lost Planet is one of those game series that I feel lost the thread over the years. Maybe we'll see a new one, maybe it's dead, maybe Exoprimal was supposed to be its successor, who knows. But what remains is that Lost Planet Extreme Condition is one of my favorite games for the 360. It's a monster fighting, almost hunting game with mechs and machine guns. Try to survive the cold while managing your heat juice. It's been too long, I can't remember what it's actually called. Oh, it's thermal energy. Thought maybe they'd be a bit more creative than that. It's $3.44, and I really love it. Pseudoregalia. Pseudoregalia is more than just the thick goat game. Forget that I said that. Pseudoregalia is a masterclass in 3D platforming. It's a Metroidvania with controls that are easy to understand, but an absolute blast to master. Like, it's been a good while since we've seen a platformer with mechanics this solid. If you're looking for a game to master, check out Pseudoregalia for $4.49. The Batman Arkham Collection. If you haven't played the Rocksteady Batman games yet, now's your time. Especially after the release of the Suicide Squad, you too can boot up one of these classics and wonder to yourself where it all went wrong. You can get all 3 of the Batman Arkham games, plus some DLC, for $8.99, or any of the 3 for under $5 themselves. Friends vs. Friends. Friends vs. Friends is one of the most creative shooters you can buy at the moment. It's a deck-building first-person shooter where your cards can give you new guns, poison your opponent, or even inflate their heads to give you a better shot. The game is purposely on the cheaper side, and the devs hate pay to win. You can only get better cards by playing. No other method. $2.49, and believe it or not, it's better with friends. If you were to buy one game on this list based on my recommendation, it's this one. Steamworld Quest, The Hand of Gilgamesh. The Steamworld games have been around for a while, the newest one being a city builder, but I can't recommend Quest enough. Quest is a hand-drawn deck-building RPG. It's nothing groundbreaking, it's nothing decade-defining, but it is the perfect sum of its parts. Great characters, just amazing gameplay. When I'm looking for another deck-building game, I tend to compare them to this, which means I have a hard time finding another deck-building game that lives up to my expectations. $3.74, which is almost a crime. I wish it was more, it's worth more. Please buy it, please give it a play, and if you like it, leave a review. Anything to make the devs please consider a sequel. Sunset Overdrive. I think we all remember when Sunset Overdrive was announced. Big, bombastic E3 presentation, super excited to play it when released. Well, a lot of people like me never did that last part until now. If you haven't grabbed this super colorful movement 3D platformer, third-person shooter, zombie comedy, then now's the time. It's Insomniac for crying out loud. Sunset Overdrive is $4.99, and honestly, it's worth more than that. Lunistice. Hey, that's what the pronunciation says online. Sorry if I got it wrong. Remember when 3D Sonic was good? This game remembers. Lunistice is a speed platformer with style for days. Built in the style of a PS1 Dreamcast game, help Hannah run and jump through her dreams in a unique story that lets you piece together what actually is happening across dozens of levels. It's a absolutely fantastic game. $3.49, and it's practically built for the Steam Deck. The Hotel Sowls. Here is a game I wish I could play again for the first time. You play as this little guy who's signing in to be a guest at the Hotel Sowls. But nothing is as it seems. Piece the mystery together and talk to everyone and everything. The truth may end up surprising you. A short 3 to 4 hour affair that is brilliant to behold. $3.99. And honestly, if you can, play it as a group. It's fun to have everyone trying to piece the story together. Child of Light. Back before Ubisoft only made one kind of game, they created Child of Light, a beautiful hand-drawn RPG with a fantastic go order system. The story will make you cry, and the gameplay is so much fun. I highly recommend it. $4.49. Burnout Paradise Remastered. Burnout may be one of the most beloved car series to date, but also the one that seems to be forgotten by its owners. Unless they considered Burnout Paradise to be their magnum opus. And honestly, you wouldn't be able to blame them. An open world racing game that's stuffed to the brim with unlockables and activities, all while having one of the most satisfying destruction systems in a racing game. Pure bliss. Paradise is a steal at $4.99. Okay, we did it. That's 50 games under $5. I just freaking love games so much. There are so many new ones to discover. One of my favorite pastimes is looking around, finding lists online, trying to find out new and weird stuff. If you know any that I may have missed, or some underground picks that you recommend, please let me and everyone else know. Half the fun is finding new stuff. Okay, this is Graphox, and I hope you find something fun to grab during this or the next Steam sale.